Okay, three. Hello and welcome to a brand new Unsourced Wall. My name is Elvis, and joined by my two great co-hosts here, Doug and Tony. We're here to talk about Scream, Scream 5, 5 Cream, Scream the reboot, Scream the soft reboot, Scream the Legacy sequel. Um, what do you guys think? Let's do this. Okay. What's your favorite horror legacy sequel? How about that, Doug?
Oh, geez. Uh, I don't know. This isn't even my favorite one, but I think it would just be a funny one to say. I think the most recent. And again, I'm not even saying this is a good movie, but the Fede Alvarez produced and written Texas Chainsaw Massacre is kind of almost like an anti-legacy sequel. Like it's almost like a parody of like the for David Gordon Green Halloween because it's like. When the survive, the final girl from the original movie shows up, she fucking sucks, and like she just is used. She gets like pushed to the side, like thrown into some garbage. Like immediately she does nothing in the movie, and then like there's just so many moments in that movie that play like gags, like that they're just the movie felt like kind of like a prank. So I'm like, if you're gonna do a legacy sequel to a beloved like a classic, like like one of the best movies ever, probably the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like you're not gonna actually like get anywhere near that in quality wise. So it might as well just do it as some kind of farce.
Good choice. I actually dug it. It was very funny. It was very funny. What about you, Tony? What's your favorite?
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna use recency bias. I think that 28 years later deserves the call out here, and that's mainly
Oh well,
because
that's an actual great one, yeah.
That's a masterpiece, though. So, Danny.
yeah, and like I'm not saying that to demean any of the other picks because like my immediate gut choice was Phantasm 2, right? I actually think that 28 years later encapsulates everything that a legacy sequel should do, without getting all of like the whole commercial aspect to it. And I think that like that question that you posed there, Elvis, like legacy sequel, like what's the best one, is pertinent to this film because if you were to ask some people, I'm sure that some people may say this movie actually.
Well,
Oh, this movie, people do like it, especially within Screen fandom. Like it is, I think people rank this pretty highly, or at
yeah,
least at the time it was
yeah.
well received. I don't know if there's been a like, you know, people have revisited and been like, "Well, was it?" Because if you just want fan service, like and I'm not saying this movie doesn't have anything to but fan service, but it does give you that. But then it's also weird because it does like, I'm more interested in the idea, the like droplets of ideas it has that aren't like like the things that like I've heard fans say like how dare they do that in this one. But I'm like, no, that's actually one of the more interesting things they did in this movie. I wish there was more stuff like that.
It just passes everything through so quickly. But I'm gonna give my answer. I'm also gonna do a recency bias. I'll go with the new "I Know You Did Last Summer," which is
Oh
which is
yeah.
so fun. It's bozo mode 24/7. I think that it's the funniest since the second movie in that franchise. It's a great time. It
Okay.
was like all the men died. Who cares? It's so funny. They all die horrendously hilarious ways. I love it. Okay. I'm glad it's not. I'm glad it didn't do good because like we gotta end this on a high note. I don't want a sequel to this one. Um, Scream. Something about Scream. 11 years after the number four, we get this one. Kevin Williamson's not back. Wes Craven has, unfortunately passed away. WonderCon's the Radio and Silence team are taking up the handle and giving us a legacy sequel, a soft reboot, infused Scream. And I gotta say, you know what? I'm gonna be kind off the bat because I think I'm the one who hates this movie the most. Time did not. I've actually hated it more than I did last time. Like, okay, I was like, these are really fun set pieces, and they have really fun set pieces. But just watching these in succession with other films of the other movies in this series, I'm like, I just can't take it anymore. I think Scream is a failed franchise. Maybe it always was, and this is emblematic of all the things that it's kind of devolved into, like a self obsession with itself. In a way that isn't clever, but just like like generic franchise brain, you know. Um, and I just can't, man. I just had to turn this off like 5 times watching it. Like it's sickening.
I think it like has enough momentum to go, like it never like stops dead in its tracks for me. I just get annoyed. I like at like basically all the legacy sequel choices they do. Well, not all of them, because I think some of the stuff like I think especially on paper some of the Dewey stuff, and I actually don't mind how Sydney's handled either. I just feel like the execution of some of those elements are kind of iffy, and it is interesting to like go back and see that it's like no, how they use the legacy sequels kind of was always the plan, because they're implemented in a way where it almost feels like oh, were they not sure they would get everyone back, because like you could kind of write some of those characters out and the story kind of remains, because it's not about them, which usually for a legacy sequel is good. You'd want it to be about the new characters and not the old generation, but there usually is some kind of like balance or handing. It doesn't even really feel like a handing of off of the torch, which isn't really a complaint. It's just that when they show up, like it's kind of like when Sydney finally is in the movie, it's kind of like, I'm here. He's like,
they almost didn't get Nev back though. That's the thing. So he was actually legit written in last moment. So they almost didn't get her back. There's a whole to do about that. But you know what? I know what I'll say is that even though like there is like a sequel meant to be, as you mentioned, Passion of Torch, the way they're connected is like so much more about the old characters. You know, it's like it's so much more about them. Like I want to do like that Phantom Menace test. Like, hey, can you describe Melissa Barrero's character in like 5 words? You know, and you can't include that she's Billy Loomis's daughter, and that Billy Loomis, you know, banged and tried to kill Sydney. You know, and I don't. Can you? Like, I don't know what else is going on with her. Honestly, it's like it's
beautiful.
Cameo.
She's
Pro Palestine.
Pro Palestine. Yes. But
I've met her. She's nice, so I can't be mean to Melissa. None of what's in this movie is her fault.
No.
Or in the sequel.
But massive flex, Doug. Massive flex.
That's good. But that's what I mean. It's like it's just everything is so tethered together to the old stuff, and it never lets the new stuff flourish. And again, I'm gonna say
because all the new stuff is so, it's like I was saying with the legacy characters, like they are all literally related to, like we talked about this in Scream 4 of like how it's kind of clever that like there's kind of there are a couple of characters who are clearly like the Randy stand-ins, but like kind of culturally everyone's a Randy now, and like also those Randy stand-ins weren't literally related to Randy, so like you can do that in a legacy sequel without having it be related. Right. You can still evoke that idea instead of like, oh, they're literally Randy's like nephew and niece. And I'm sorry, like I like that actress who plays Mindy, even though Yellow Jackets is a show that I don't like, that I'm invested in, mostly because of the cast, and I think she's pretty good in that show. But like the Mindy characters suck. Like the new Meeks suck.
The Meeks twins suck ass. They do.
Like Chad, what's Chad's deal? He's besides being Mindy's brother.
I'm a jock, man. Also, that's it. That's it. It's like, but like that's the thing. Like, there's no room to breathe. That's okay. So I'm gonna say one. I'm gonna say 2 things in the movie's favor. One, there is no way that they could have made this work on like a foundational level, because all the stuff that you would have been able to do was already done in 4. Okay, no 4 meant to come in on remakes, but the fact that it's all whole meta thing, it did inadvertently also do a lot of stuff that you have to do with a legacy sequel too. That's not 5's fault. I just think but that just means that like 5 was starting off from a place that had like very much against it, because there was no new areas for it to kind of explore. It was all used up. The well was dry, and the well has always been dry, as Tony likes to remind us. And so,
well, it was mostly dry, and then there was like some water at the end, and I'm like, oh, there's water in that well. What the fuck? And then now it's all gone again.
Yeah, but and so one of the things I like about that is that because even though Jill is related to Sydney, the whole interplay and dynamics of the characters, the teen characters, while not great, it did feel a lot more removed. It did feel a little bit more insular. Like they had the whole ecology and environment to themselves. In this one, like who gives up? Wes is a non-character. Chad's a non-character.
Yeah, and at
Mindy
least
is just Randy.
The other characters in 4 are defined enough where even if you don't spend enough time with him, like what was the name of Jill's boyfriend again? The funny
Trevor. The goofball Trevor is so good.
Yeah, Trevor doesn't have a lot of screen time, but you understand like what it's an archetype, sure, but it's like a fun use of that archetype, and like a lot of, like you said, Wes is a I'm like, okay, he's Judy's son and he's named after Wes Craven, but like what else can I say about him other than I do like his death scene. Like that's probably one of the highlights of the movie, but like that death isn't. Like, also, not that these movies have ever been brilliant, like, whodunits, like, because other than, like, 1 and 4, the reveals are kind of, like, whatever, but there should at least be some tension of, like, where I'm trying to figure out, like, who could these people, I can't suspect any of the characters if they're not characters, you know?
Yeah, like, it feels like everything is propping up the legacy characters, and I didn't feel like it that way. It feels a lot more cloying, like here's your toys, audience. I'm sorry, but like what I'll say about 4 and also the first scene of the TV show. All right, again, I'm gonna bring the TV show in here for this. They did not use Red Right Hand. They didn't. 4 didn't do it, and the show didn't. At least for now. I'm not sure about season 2 yet.
But they never do. It's a shocking amount of restraint. But
exactly,
but
they had restraint. They had respect.
I gotta push back on this, right? Because like the legacy characters in this movie don't come in until like 30 minutes in this movie, right? Like we
they suck.
Get
we agree.
But like that's what like I haven't even gotten into my thoughts on this. You guys have obviously like made your points clear on what do you think about this movie? But like I think that this intention is very different because like we're in the weeds, right? Like we already know what we're looking for. We're looking for the Sidney Prescotts. We're looking for the connections to Randy and all that stuff. But I feel as though like this movie is designed for people who've only seen the first movie, vaguely remember it, and then they're coming into this one, right? And I feel like you kind of have to judge it on that level. And I'm not saying that as a participation award trophy. I'm saying that more so as like, okay, they're trying to carve their own path.
Right.
They're taking the things and leaving what they can with the original.
That's even worse comparison.
If I compare it to other horror franchises that do that, like the first David Gordon Green Halloween, I'd probably rather watch that than this.
See, now that's where I would disagree. Where I'd say the first David Gordon Green, I would actually prefer this movie over that one, and I prefer Ends.
I mean, there's one masterpiece in that trilogy, and it's Ends. But like, I would still
End is so
yeah.
But I think that 5 is like just a competent horror film. I think it's good. I think it's like when it comes to the people who are in it, when it comes to the kills that are in it, everything in it is actually sufficient and a good time at the movies, a good time at the DVD player. Even when I'm contextualizing it in this way, like I'm hearing all this vitriol. I'm hearing like, the worst Scream movie ever, and I'm like, I don't know.
I never said worst ever. I never said
I said some of the other ones had lower lows. It's like this one is just it's a smorgasbord of those lows. Like it steals and doesn't really do much different from the other ones. So it's just like the only thing it does well. The only thing I'll say this does well are the kills. I think the kills are really fun, and it just feels like
the kills. I think there's some cool kills, and the Ghostface depiction is like, because like 4 we already noted like how brutal Ghostface had become, and like I feel like they I don't think they like topped that really, but they kind of doubled down on like it almost feels like it keeping with the times of like our youth has become more violent, so that's reflected in Ghostface.
Yeah, no, I feel like the movie feels like it's built around like, again, standard / why am I being so like, why am I getting such a high criteria for this? Like, of course the horror movie is built around the kills, like it's simple stuff, but I don't know, I feel like, especially if you're saying like this is for people who only watched the first one, like you gotta grade it on that curve. You gotta grade on the curve. Sorry, but it's like, okay, compared to like maybe like the some of the later Halloweens and some of the later Friday the 13th and some of the later Texas Chainsaw Massacres. Yeah, this it smells like a bed of roses. But I'm sorry, but I'm always gonna be
That's
comparing
what
to
I'm
the first
saying.
one. I'm always gonna be comparing to the first one, and this is just like you go from the first one, like this more than anything, this more than two, this more than three. It's like, why are we still even making these?
Well, the answer is money, right? And when it comes to the fourth movie, right, that was the movie that made the least amount of money, right? And the second movie that made the
True
least
Bone
amount of
Temple.
money.
A
Sorry,
true Bone Temple movie. Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm making the cross gesture with my body right now for the Bone Temple. But when it comes to the second least grossing Scream movie, that's Scream 5, right? And I think that that's really interesting in the sense that like it's trying to do this other thing. And when it comes to what you guys are rubbing so much against, it's like, okay, what are these retreads? Like, how are these, uh topping what has been done before? And I'm like, yes, I agree on one end, and then on the other, it's like I feel like I've seen this kind of thing done a million times before. And when I compare it to the million times I've seen it before, this easily edges out into like the top percentage pile of that. Like when we're talking about grading on a curve, that's what I'm looking at here. I'm not looking at the Scream franchise. I'm looking at horror movies in general. And when I'm thinking about horror movies in general, I'm like, this is like a better legacy sequel than a worse legacy sequel in my eyes, at least.
I don't know.
I compared to, like, yes, there are worse ones. It's just kind of a boring one for me because, especially on rewatch,
I'll
because
take that.
like the newer things that it like gestures at just don't feel like enough of an idea.
They don't delve in
let's
at all.
say the opening, for example. Like,
Okay, yeah.
she lives in the beginning. She doesn't
Yeah,
die. I'm like, that's a new idea.
Let's get into it. We haven't even talked about the story
yet. Let's just do it.
Let's get into it. Okay, Scream. We open up with our classic person alone, young teen girl alone at their house, talking to a friend, getting ready to maybe like throw an impromptu slumber party. It's all nice and wholesome, and she gets a quick call from a very velvety voiced stranger who's like, "Oh, can we talk?" She thinks it's her mother's sponsor, who's like a drunk or something. We never know. We don't find out.
The mother's a big question mark. We'll never answer.
What's
should,
the mother
should at least appear on screen at least at one point, right? Because like if we're gonna make a bunch ado about the father in this film and what their lineage is,
where's her mops?
At least you see pictures of Sydney's mom because like she's so important to like the architecture of like
exactly
where this all began. Even if we're not getting like long drawn out flashbacks, like we know things about Sydney's mom and like why that all happened. I couldn't tell you a single thing about the Carpenter's mom other than she fucked Billy Loomis at some point.
Yeah, but no, the thing about that is like so
other than I just know she's a fucking whore.
Exactly.
I know she's a bad judge of character.
Yeah, she's like so this movie, I think we'll get into it a little bit later because I do have a rant about this that Doug already heard. But this movie, I think, is very cowardly with the sexual politics that has been at the core of the Scream franchise, more or less, almost consistently. Now, some movies have done it worse. Some movies have done it really, really badly. Everyone should go to jail for 3. And this movie also is not good at it. Like with regards to their mother, like what is that relationship like? Like what is the politics of that? Like her husband leaves her because she finds out that one of his 2 kids is not his kid, but the other one is. So like what is going on? What's the interpersonal relationships going on there? Why does her daughter seem to think that being a serial killer is genetic? Like what is, and why are there 2 pedophiles in this movie? It's
and also there's like a weirdly misogynistic point where like Sydney meets Sam and they're like kind of catty of like, oh, you're Billy's daughter, and she's like, yeah, is that a problem? Like they don't really have reason to have beef with each other at that point when they meet. Like Sam understandably wants to get out of town, but like why are they claws out for each other? Like it's almost like there's some territorialness over Billy, and I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, and so like this movie really doesn't like figure into that. Like a lot of movies did. Again, two was
Billy
really
Loomis
bad at this.
exonerated.
Three,
That's what this
three
movie
was
is about.
three was really bad about this. The show was was incredibly bad about this. Well, listen to the first episode we did on the show.
Get ready for season 2.
None of that has been good. But like that's why I feel like it's if you're gonna bring some of these things up, you gotta at this point I'm like just actually care about it. And this movie just kind of feels the need to bring these things up as like little spice, little titillation spices. And like that's too close to 3 for me. Off the bat. Like that just bad taste in my mouth from 3 off the bat. But you're right. Okay, so Jenna Ortega, she gets into a conversation with Roger Jackson, who is very clearly, let's just say it, very clearly Richie, right? Like Roger Jackson, I knew that they didn't use him that much this time, and I really don't. It's really a shame because Roger Jackson just keeps getting better with every movie. You know that you can tell who he is. You know.
Yeah, it's very apparent in this film specifically who is what and when, right? And I actually really am a big fan of this opening scene, and it's largely because of Jenna Ortega. I think that this is kind of like the secret weapon of at least these first 2 Scream films, is that they've got an impeccable cast. Like every single person in them is good. And Jenna Ortega specifically at the beginning is a really grounding force that actually makes this, like, if you're not like, if you're looking at this just like, okay, I'm watching a Scream movie here, the lights have gone down and this screen is lit up, what is happening right now? I'm buying into all of this stuff as it's playing out. I'm not thinking about the machinations of the larger franchise as these things are playing out. Instead, I'm just thinking about, okay, how are these things playing out? And they're playing out some things where it's like you got some text elements that have been brought in from like 4 and even the TV series in ways that are interesting. But then also you have this whole like FaceTime element as well. It feels very natural. And again, to really reiterate, you could really tell why Tim Burton hires her all the time. It's because she's got those big eyes. Jenna Ortega is just amazing. You know, like you can just read emotion on her at all times. And to have her up front like this, it really gives Drew Barrymore a run for her money.
Ooh, double vision.
I mean, I think she's very good in this opening. It's just like to your point of the cast being good. That's I don't think they use her interesting in any other way outside of this scene. You know, like because then
That
for the
is
rest
true.
of this movie, she's just sidelined in the hospital, and then in 6. From my record, I mean, I'll have to rewatch it for next week, but like I don't remember them doing fucking shit with her in that. So like does feel like a bit of a waste. A lot of her career I feel like could be characterized by like not knowing how to fully utilize her.
So
I mean, I think she's very good in this opening, and I think she's very good in X. And then I'm trying to think of other Jenna Ortega things. I like her, but like in terms of like where they
she's
actually
okay
are,
on
like
Wednesday.
I just haven't watched
Beetlejuice.
Wednesday 'cause I don't
Wednesday
care.
sucks, but she's good in it.
I believe that.
What about the second Beetlejuice? I thought she was delightful in that.
She was okay.
I didn't care for that Beetlejuice, but also I
I'll
just feel
say that's more on Tim. That was more of Tim Burton's fault.
yeah, that's not her fault. That the character doesn't really have a. It's just like, oh, Lydia again, but kind of, I don't know. She has a dead boyfriend, but it's like there's, yeah, it just felt like a poorly defined character. But I feel like a lot of the characters weren't really that well defined in that movie.
It's not a great movie, but I will also say, like, I'm not going to turn down Jenna Ortega giving birth to a Beetlejuice baby. I thought that was very delightful.
That ending is the best part because it like actually it evokes the maybe just because the memory of a child watching the original movie and like being freaked out by some of those effects. The ending was the closest it came to evoking. Like that was the only part where I could see a kid watching and like being like, "This is kind of freaky."
Yeah, that's like a nightmare fuel thing. That's like the thing that it's like in the middle of the night they're calling their parents and they're going like, I had a nightmare because of this, you know.
And that's what I want from Burton is like to make a kids movie that occasionally has like a nightmare fuel thing in there where you're like, where the fuck did that come from? So it's like, yeah, he was like 20% less asleep in that movie. So I'll give him props for that. He should wake up more. Maybe for the Attack of the Giant woman thing. Maybe he'll be horny enough to wake up. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah, his morning wood is going to drag him to sweat every day of filming. That's what I'm saying. But to bring it back to Scream 5, right? Like Jenna Ortega. Sorry, there's an echo that's going on right now. Is that somebody?
I think that's from when I don't mute my phone when I'm not talking.
Sorry, Doug. I didn't mean to put you on blast like that if that's the case, but I'm just going to keep going. When it comes to Jenna Ortega in this film, and especially in this opening, and like to speak to what you guys were saying, it's like I agree. I don't think that Jenna Ortega is like perfectly used in this movie, but then also I think that like this movie is very interesting to examine from like this movie came out like what 2022 and 4 years out, even like the trajectories of these people are completely different from where they're poised in this film. And I feel as though like maybe they thought that Jenna Ortega would just be more of a side character person and Melissa Barrera would be more of an easy bet for leading roles. And as things have gone out, it's just kind of been awkward in that sense. But then just when
they
it comes
kind of lucked
to
out with having Jenna Ortega, because I don't think Wednesday hadn't started, and like she had done what year was X? I mean, like, but that was
this
like
is 2022. This is the same year as like X and stuff. This is the
Okay.
This is the year
she got
she's
boost.
popping.
She got the boost, yeah.
But to kind of go back to like what she's. Sorry if we could get the mute going on. Sorry, but what
I'll keep track of that. Yeah.
So when it comes to Jenna Ortega and what's the problem with these acting pieces here is like it feels like there are some people who should have more but don't have enough, and it's largely because like we know what they're capable of, or also like we are seeing what they're capable of on screen and we're going like, yeah, they should be it. But then like a lot of this is like I'm watching this movie and like I'm hearing what you guys are saying about like, oh, this is like really bad for the Scream series. This is really bad in comparison to what we've seen. But it's like I'm imagining this like in the context of like dozen sequels within a horror franchise. This is what we get, kind of thing. And to me, I'm watching this and I'm like, this is like much better than like watching Halloween 6 or whatever, right? Like this, and that's essentially what this is. Yeah, 100%.
No way.
100%. A million.
I'm
I
sorry.
would much.
I'm a curse booster. I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'm all in for curse. Okay.
Look, I agree. I agree.
H2O. I would have been with you.
But I agree. But also, like, if let's say I'm going to walk up to any person on the street right now, right? Like, and I've got a DVD in my hand, I would hand them the Scream DVD before I'd hand them the Halloween 6 DVD. And it's because, like, while I think that most people should watch Halloween 6 because it's a masterpiece of hilarity, Scream 5 is a very safe film. It's a very like competent movie in how it gets the scares through. And I don't think that
I would just give him Rob Zombie's Halloween too.
Yeah, just give him Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 or Scream the TV series season 2, which have the same arcs. But when it comes to what the problems are here, I just think that like we can see what these things are. I think that you guys are not vibing as much with it. And I'm just kind of going like, it's okay. It's fine enough. It's not like the worst I've ever seen. I think that's what the major bracing is.
Well, I'll say this because it feels, you said safe, right? That's the thing. It feels, assembled. It feels corporate, and like that's why it's my issue. I'm going to say it's my issue with Evil Dead Rise as well. But I would watch Evil Dead Rise any day over this. But Evil Dead Rise and all that kind of stuff, it feels like it's been made on an assembly line. Like you said, safe, but like everything feels calculated, and it feels like forced in its own sense. It's just not interesting. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is just so boring. It's boring.
I enjoyed it enough the first time I saw it. It's just, like it doesn't really hold up on rewatch because, like you're saying, Elvis, like it's just kind of boring, and the new ideas, the quote unquote new ideas, they just feel very first drafty. Like a lot of this feels like ideas that if they actually wanted to hone in on like toxic fandom, or you can just pick any plot plot point from this. Like, even though I do think a lot of the Dewey characterization is successful in this, like I would have taken another pass at some of his scenes, especially his final scene, maybe when writing this movie. Like I feel like that. Yeah, they could have. And I don't think this movie was rushed out in the way that like some of the other sequels were. Like they probably could have taken their time. It just has that feel. I mean, like Amber's name is literally just the screenwriter's wife's name. It's like that's like a placeholder name he put in, and then he never went back into. That's the whole script kind of feels like that.
But you know what? I'll say this. Let's rip the Band-Aid off, right? The thing about this as well is that as a screen film, why is it like 90% about Star Wars? Like the entire impetus of this is not necessarily just about horror or anything like that, or even Scream. It's about the reaction to The Last Jedi. Like that's like the core premise that this film story has been like developed from. The reception to The Last Jedi, and it's like that's so annoying to me. It's really.
Well, like if you want to comment on fandom, I feel like that was just an obvious point for them to go to, even though.
But like they don't actually do the issue of that fandom though, because like
I get that.
I think they do.
No, not really. They shy away from it because I've been in those spaces, okay, and these like alt-right kind of fandom fringe, like fandom menace freaks, like they're just another pipeline into alt-right ideology. So that their entire cesspit, they don't do anything with that here.
Richie is coded that way, but they don't get into like
they don't develop it any kind of way. Like I'm sorry,
that's the issue with the film.
They're cowardly. That's what I mean. That they're cowardly with sexual politics. Because like that would have been like a great sort of like through line from like Billy to Charlie from 4, and then Richie. Like that could have been like an easy kind of point A to point B to point to point C. When it comes to like how these kind of like philosophies and ideologies develop. They fester, misogyny, racism, all that kind of stuff. Sexism. That would have been great.
Let's just call a spade a spade. Let's just call a spade a spade, right? Yeah. Because like we started with Columbine, right? And then we're talking about the evolution of incel culture, and it moves into this place where it's like it even is called by name, like 4chan, right? And this idea that it's like these online hype cults that move around like morbid curiosities and sometimes partake in those things, right? I think that there are at least those flashes of an idea that are there, and certainly we can talk about like how fleshed out they are. But when it comes to the impetus of that idea, this concept of how these things repeat, I think that at least on an idea level, all of the pieces are there and are sound within the stuff, at least from like a cultural standpoint. So I think that like that stuff has been grafted over. And one thing I will say about this film in service of praise, Radio Silence, I think are craftsmen. Like I agree with you guys where I don't think the script is great, but I do think that how these things are constructed are well considered. I think that all of the pieces are in place. How these pieces play out, I think, is a different story.
So, one thing about just to continue on this little piece about Richie and everything. The movie itself is inconsistent because it's about that fandom reaction. A lot of fandom reaction, unwarranted. But then they kind of do like reverse Uno thing, right? Where like you see clips of Stab 8, and it is like a really bad looking movie, which kind of is contrast or is contradicted by how they describe it. Like Ryan Johnson trying to make a more character piece, but then we see the clips of that movie, and it's like, well, you kind of like have to follow through. Like the thing about, I hate Stab as a concept. I always have, right? But the first, when they actually showed Stab 1, it's meant to look like a shitty, like teen slasher. And it does.
Right. So is Richie right? Like, because it feels like the movie is being like, oh, well, he's correct.
Well,
like
no, hold on.
The movie is bad looking.
No. So this is where I actually think that the movie understands this. I feel, because what I like about this movie is that like it shows those elements of Richie, and especially just in general, even like people within the film where they're just like, oh, like The Last Jedi sucked, and then this next Scream movie sucked. But then who are the villains of this movie? It's the same people who say that shit, right? Like, and it's their ideology that carries it through.
Yeah,
I think
but,
that
but
the
mine
failing
has
of
the
this
misogyny
film,
and
Brandon Nice also
sexism.
says that. She's
Yeah,
not the villain.
But like,
yeah, but also she's ultimately proven to be wrong. I think
Yeah.
that like this is a situation where like that ideology is meant to be called into question. What I do take issue with is how these things are brought up, but they're not properly rectified with. They're like they
they aren't.
understand because here's the thing, right? Like because let's be honest, right? Force Awakens and Last Jedi comes out, right? And it's like these movies are, contractually obligated films, right? These are movies that have to exist, and there are people who have to make meaning out of these things, right? And Ryan Johnson did the most honorable thing in terms of like trying to eschew, so much fanboyisms, trying to calm down the fandom a little bit. But the problem is that like whether you love that movie or not, like I think that we can all agree that like The Last Jedi is not a perfect movie. Like it has flaws, and those flaws have allowed for people to like nitpick and allow for them to like go, well, I'm on my high horse about why I don't like it, right? And I think that what this movie is at least broaching is that like these people, at least especially at this time, is they let that overtake their entire personality. They went way too far with it. And if we're going back to that whole, Columbine comparison, I think that it's very natural to make that comparison point, especially if we're going to talk about the eras and their mass casualty events.
Right. But like Richie should be like 1,000 times more racist and sexist. I'm sorry, but that's like how those places are. I've been in those
Unfortunately,
streams.
I agree. Unfortunately, I agree.
So I feel cowardly. Like this feels.
Yeah, it's too subtle.
I gotta
Even
knock
though-
it down. Like the idea is sound. I agree. The idea is there, but it's just it. It's an idea. An idea isn't enough for a story. You actually have to like build on it. That's what makes Charlie and Jill like, and to me, some of the best characters in the series. Definitely some of the best ghost faces because they have an idea and they're like the way those characters interact and like what they say and what they do, it's all about that idea. It's all about like the forces of society have shaped them. Richie is like he's like just well, we have this idea that actually exists. That it's a problem that exists, and it's like a kind of a moral rot in society. But we're just gonna have him say nothing of substance or value about it. Then he becomes a crazy guy. Like that's lame. This movie's lame as hell, man.
To their credit, he is a sex offender because I don't even know if I clocked that on the first
there's
watch.
two
Where like
pedophiles.
Amber calls him hun, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like come on, let's talk about that. It's so funny. There's two pedophile characters in the movie. There. Okay, so there's Stu's nephew, right, who had a fling with an 18-year-old a year ago. Okay?
I forgot that he was related to because that's like everyone has to be related.
Oh, that is such like the Maureen Sanders and Sam Adams of whatever their names were in part two, right? The Jada Pinkett Smith and Omar Epps characters, because like oh, well, what is that going to mean anything? No, it's like Spaceballs, your brother's uncle's niece's nephew. Like who gives a shit? It's no purpose. It's dumb fan service, man. But also, like Richie,
but it's also like if you're looking for that fan service, it's there, right? But if you're not looking for that fan service and it flies right over you, it like is. I don't think that it's
they bluntly pointed out. They bluntly pointed out.
For me, it kind of flew right over my head. Like
they spent like 30 seconds, like his nephew, but why? Like you had to figure it out. Like, come on, man, kill me.
I just don't think that this stuff is as obnoxious as in other films of this ilk. I don't think that it's even as obnoxious as the first David Gordon Green.
I'll say it's like it's as obnoxious as the Force Awakens, because like Force Awakens and this, not a lot of other legacy sequels. Maybe the David Gordon Green one to some fans, they have this tendency of being like, especially these couple, they have a tendency of being like, well, we're going to do it right, so we're going to ignore the other stuff because we're embarrassed of that. Now, again, Force Awakens totally they ignored all the prequel stuff for some reason. I don't know why, And in Halloween, they just ignored or like we're going to just not even care about these sequels anymore for a new timeline. And then this one does that kind of similar thing, but it doesn't really work because this is not like this is inside universe. So there's like a couple of times where they just call like Scream 4 shit, you know? And I'm like, you can't really do that if your movie is not good. Okay, your movie's gotta be good to do that. It just feels smug otherwise. The movie is so smug. I hate it.
This movie is really smug. I will say that that's a major problem with it. But I will also say that like the actors are across the board amazing, as I already pointed out before. And I do think that that actually leads to a shortcoming. And what I'm saying here is like, so we've talked about already about how the threat should be more severe in a sense. Like we already have pointed out how the villains are correctly labeled for the area for the era, but they haven't really like appropriately dealt with it or rectified with it. I feel like there's a part of on the end of the filmmakers where they feel a bit too precious, and one major ding, but also positive I will give this film is that it's too in love with Jack Quaid. I feel as though the film knows how good Jack Quaid is. I feel like it is early on telling you that Jack Quaid is the killer, mainly because they're so proud of this performance and they're always leaning into it. And if you're watching the film with that in mind, the editing and the way that the film is made is in service of how excited they are for the reveal later on.
I agree. It got me the first time, and then like second time, like okay, this is way obvious. But it got me the first time. I think Jack again. I know when they're going to say like the acting is all good except for Mikey Madison. We should give her Oscar back because she's really sucky. She's terrible in this. But that's the script.
I think she's great in this movie.
Maybe that's the script. Maybe that's the script level because I think that Amber is probably like the worst Ghostface of all time.
No way. No way.
Man.
I think she's great in this movie.
No,
worse
Mickey. I'm gonna push back. Amber's pretty fun.
I hate Amber so much, man. I'm sorry. It feels like it feels so wannabe cool. Like
no. I think that she's like the fucking what's his face? Fucking Shaggy. I think that she is that of this film and earns it. She's the only Oscar winner of the whole Scream franchise, and she it feels like it every time she's on screen.
No,
I'm
okay,
whoa, there's something going on here.
I just don't like. I don't like any of them honestly, but they're so thinly dealt with that it feels no different than like Miss Loomis or Mickey or actually Roman had a little bit more going on. So I'm definitely just well, I'm gonna say like I'm not sorry. Maybe the siblings, maybe more Richie's white ass family are probably worse than her because they're just Miss Loomis altogether. But like maybe between them, maybe she's like right there between all the others and them. Like she's just not. I just don't. I think that everyone's always talking about the scene where like oh I know you're not the killer because I am like that's just so lame. That feels like you made for a lot of this movie feels made for YouTube compilations. I say it all the time. This feels like someone reviewing a movie going like, and then this happens and the clip from the movie like that just feels like this. It feels made for that, and that especially like, and then the epic twist. Like I don't care.
But also like I feel like the things that you're getting at there, Elvis, are not so much problems with this movie, but unfortunately problems with this entire franchise.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Right? Like, so it's not exactly like something that I can pin on this film, right?
I know.
It's like I hear you, I agree on that sense, but then also I'm more lenient.
I agree with you too. So that's why I was saying like when I remember seeing like 6, like my God. And this is why we even making these in like 7, like the trailer for 7 makes me depressed every time I see it. Like, why are we still making these? I never thought about that really with 5. Like, I thought like 5, like this is a pretty bad sequel, but whatever. But now watching it again, like it hits me like the big weight of like all the history of the Scream franchise just hits me all at once. Going, Scream has always been a really bad horror franchise. It finally dawns on me on this rewatch of 5. Like, that's the thing. That's where like the illusion starts to break because like with 2 and 3 like okay I just gotta make it to 4 and then like 5 it just really hits you like 2 and 3 are bad, 5 is bad, 6 is bad. Like there's a time when they should have just said stop, like the guy pull the plug, put a DNR order on this, man. It's
Look,
this is not a good franchise. It's just
Well,
not.
in that way, this is a very true Scream sequel because, like, yeah, the it's been creatively bankrupt since like 2, so it's in line with that. At least.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because like for me, it's like I came into this as like a Scream, like agnostic kind of. Like I'd seen all these movies, but I'm like, you know what, whatever, right? And the reality is like between 2 and 3, I'm like, those are real dog doo-doo films. And then I get to 4, and I'm like, definitely in an oasis here. But I wouldn't say that the downgrade between 4 or 5 or vice versa is very different. I wouldn't say that like, the basis of this franchise has been so stable from the start. So in that larger like evaluation of this movie, I'm seeing this as like a totally passable
You know what?
like new entry for
I think I
new
can
fans.
articulate because you're not wrong, Tony. You're not wrong. I don't think I'll ever watch 2 and 3 again in my life.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever watch them again. But I will say one thing, okay? And we talked about this when we saw those movies as well. The through lines of those are at least very solid. Like Sydney's character arc is like from 1 to 2 and 3. There are natural progression of her as a character, and she's very, charming. She's very emotionally investing. It's satisfying to invest in her emotionally as a character. And then 4 even caps it off. It's all really great. And then
there's a reason why she's some people's favorite final girl.
Exactly. Like she's like the movie suck, but she's like a very strong, well-defined character whose evolutions always make sense. In 5, that's the thing, right? That's where I'm like, I do not care about what happens to Sydney after anymore. I don't care about Sydney Prescott after 4. Like even like she was like she became Digimon, fucking champion. There's no more to go anymore. Okay, like that's it. Okay, like 5 is all about like passing the torch, but like Marissa Rivera's character isn't a defined character either. So there's nowhere to go with either of these characters. 6 is a dead end. 7's a dead end. I don't care about the saga of Sidney Prescott or the saga of Ghostface. These are narrative dead ends that were just kept alive just a little bit. By that character writing of seeing this teenage girl become an actualized woman,
Yes.
And then that's it. That's the story. There's nothing else.
So I want to cut in just slightly to say like I feel like at least on a small end this is ingrained within this film's writing because it does say like these legacy sequels need to shoehorn in the references to the original. And then what I do like about this is like who is the person who is the closest to this core group of like young adults, right? It's Dewey. Dewey gets too close to it, and what ends up happening is he's the one who gets killed again. Nobody in the original core cast is like forced into this. They come back to it because there's some level of like, ownership over the story while also being like, like we want to stop this out a bit, right? But the reality is like these kids could have just handled this on their own. They could have, but like reality is they were brought back to it. And Dewey is a representation of going too far back into this ideology, feeding too much, love and respect into the glory days. It feeds back into like his regret with what happened with Gail, right? That's why I think that it kind of works. So it's like when it comes to how Sydney is not all that big in this film and how Gail is kind of just off to the sidelines, I don't really care. Because like I feel like everybody else is so good in it, and I feel like everybody who is a part of the original cast kind of being like suffering, like they're kind of like backhanded or like hurt because they do this, right? And it's ultimately up to this new core cast to do this. I like that about this movie.
I wish that was the case. I wish what you were describing was what the movie was actually like, but the fact that they made her Williams' daughter is so that there is like this more of a connection with Sydney when there shouldn't be any. It shows
a lack of faith in the characters that like they need to build those connections artificially.
Yeah, I wish that Sydney wasn't that important. In fact, I think Sydney's kind of less important in 4. Like the 4 is the one that like everyone kind of takes a step back, and that's great. And I wish that was the case, but it's not. Like everything has to revolve around like the saga of this town. Like I don't care. Woodsboro should have been left behind as well. Like 2 and 3 don't even take place in Woodsboro. I don't care about Woodsboro either. I don't.
And I agree with that. I think that, like, honestly, there should be just like a new town. There should be like a new design for Ghostface. It should just completely change with every movie. It shouldn't be so
Let's just
locked
get rid
down.
of Ghostface. Let's do other horror genre, conventions.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, why not have it so like somebody's faking a ghost experience in a house or something, and they're using that as a way to scam whatever kind of thing within their town. Right. Like, there's a million and one different ways that you can take like the central conceit of Scream. But the problem with this franchise is that it feels so beholden to the slasher genre.
Could just be a town where Scooby-Doo shit happens.
Why not? Why not? Wolfman. Fuck it.
And we never had proof of concept of the TV show, which did exactly that. So, it's a proven concept. Proven concept.
It can be built.
Let's get further into this story. Okay. Oh my God, what even happens next? So Jenna Ortega doesn't die, but she's also not a main character, so we don't even get say what happens with a character who doesn't die. They basically take her out of the equation. So it's like it could be just like if she died. Really, a lot of the stuff happens regardless. And
I also feel like they telegraphed Amber being one of the Ghostface's if it was intentional, I'd be down with them revealing one of the killers so early. But the fact that right after Tara getting stabbed, that Amber's non-reaction, I don't know, she just never sells that she's like a concerned friend, and I'm like, oh, okay, so she's in on this.
Yeah. So I do want to mention one thing. Okay, nitpicky. But during the Ghostface scene with Jenna Ortega, he mentions that Sidney Prescott was in all those stab movies except for the last one. But I gotta say, ding, Scream 4 makes very clear that Sidney Prescott was not in Stab 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7. Okay, make very clear that she wasn't in those movies as a character.
It's are they even fans?
Yeah, exactly.
Just pissing on Wes Craven's grave now.
Well, we're talking about pissing on Wes Craven's grave. There's a part where Mindy says Scream 4 sucks. So I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, the thing is this movie does end with a 4 West, right? But then there's also a sequence. There's also a sequence where they're talking about how all of the sequels suck, and it's while the Scream movies also did that, it's I feel as though you should be a bit more respectful to the original films.
It kind of feels like they were shielding, using it as a shield, oh, this is for Wes's legacy. F off, just make a good movie. Okay, it feels like you're doing this as a crutch, and naming the character Wes
but
too.
Also, I think this is a good movie. I do think this is a good movie. So it's and also I will say that since 4 is certainly a good movie as well, but this is a better movie than 2 or 3. So I do think that this is in line with that stuff. And one thing that I will say, because we were talking about Jenna Ortega and all this stuff, I think that one of the central problems with this film is that, and the whole Scream franchise going forward from this one, is that casting made a really poor choice. And it's that Jenna Ortega should have been the lead of this series, and Melissa Barrera should have been the sister, right? And it's not because Melissa Barrera is a worse actor or anything. I just think that it's because their performance stylings would have worked for these different roles better. And I think that there is something weird with that when you're watching these films where Melissa Barrera is the lead in these
We're not
films.
even starting from the POV of a teenager like the original Scream. We're starting from the older sister, which is already you could give that points where you're oh, okay, that's different, I guess. But yeah, I think if it was Ortega, we would have that grounding of at least yes, this is about our youth today.
Exactly.
Right. And because you remove Ortega from the equation so early, there's less to for the secondary characters to do. We're told that Wes, has a crush on Jenna Ortega's character, but we never see it because she's stuck in a bed in a hospital room 90% of the movie.
So apparently her and Amber were originally a couple, and I feel like they should have kept that idea. I feel they were just cowards and didn't want to do that.
Cowardly movie. They're appealing to chuds. That's why they didn't make them racist or sexist. They didn't want to alienate the chud audience.
That's actually another weird thing about this movie, where it's like it's calling out chuds, right? But then it's also like scared of the chuds, where like they don't want to like push too far
I'm in
and
New
like
York.
really
I'm
piss them
scared of
off.
the chuds too.
Hey, no, you got Zoran out there. You're fine. He's got your back. When it
you're
comes
right.
to
You're right. You're right, though.
this movie is trying to push back up against the chuds, but then like ultimately it still capitulates to their framing. And I think this does speak to like the era in which this film was made, but I do also think that it's a valid critique of what this film is.
Yeah. So let's talk about what else. Okay, so the character. Yeah, let's talk about Judy. Okay, because it's not about Judy. One of the only characters coming back from Scream 4. She's now the sheriff. She's Sheriff Judy. Where was this kid?
She was hanging out
In
with
her
Egon's
belly.
kid in Ghostbusters 2. They were in the same daycare. No, apparently the kid was being watched by Melissa Barrera. Doesn't their line just like she used to babysit all of us?
Oh right, yeah.
Yep.
But like, did that inform their dynamic? So she doesn't have any scenes with any of them either. So this movie does not care with the secondary cast at all.
That's another thing, is that the new characters don't feel integrated into the lore of the town, because it's like if Melissa Barrera was like babysitting and she has this reputation in the town before she left, like Dewey would have a different reaction to like when she shows up and is like, I'm Billy Loomis's daughter. He'd be like, no, you're so-and-so's daughter, because like there was publicly, everyone else knew her as, you know, part of this family.
Right, because he seemed very, very close with Judy. Wouldn't he know like that as well? It's kind of insane. Whatever. But my theory is that Wes is actually Dewey's bastard son. Okay, that's why Judy was so up close with him in 4, because she's trying to like to rekindle that affair magic. Okay.
Oh, geez.
But only Wes knows. That's why he's very, very mean to Dewey during Mindy's rule scene. Okay,
I mean, that is one of the funniest David Arquette line reads, is like with like maybe you're the killer, because that line those words cut deep.
I gotta say it right now, right? Like, this is the best Dewey ever. I think this is the best Dewey performance.
Dewey rocks. Like, I think everyone loves Dewey.
David Arquette rules, except minus. I don't know. There's something about his final moment that's like the idea of it. I just wish. Distracted by a phone call feels.
It's so
like there could have been a better way to take him off the board. I don't know.
Just have him get beat. He's an old man for limp. Okay. I'm sorry, but like they could have killed him anyway. It does feel like it was Gale calling him. Like, this is not King Kong, okay? The beauty did not kill the beast here, okay? But I agree. Dewey is great, and he gives like maybe the second best rules. That's pretty much it.
And he's right. He's proven correct. It's like we never should doubt Dewey. Which makes the phone call thing even weirder, because it's like his instincts are perfectly honed at this point, because he's been through this so much. So like the fact that yes, he knows to like, oh, well, one, the fact that he even has to like remember to go shoot in the head instead of going for that initially, where it's like, come on, Dewey, I believe you're a good enough shot. You could headshot Amber like immediately if you wanted to. But then he has to, he gets distracted by the phone. I'm like, these are rookie moves.
I just wanted to say that like watching David Arquette in this movie is like peering into like into the future, where it's like I can imagine the Oscar clips for Ryan Gosling in 15 years, and it just looks like David Arquette in this movie.
You mean the In Memoriam, or like what are you talking about?
No, like, okay, so like look at David Arquette's face in this movie and tell me you do not see like an aged Ryan Gosling, right?
Ryan
like
Gosling is already old though, so
yes.
No, I get what you're saying. Like if you take Place Beyond the Pines, Ryan Gosling or something, and then age him like a couple of decades, like
you've got it.
This is very rude to David Arquette.
But he looks fantastic in this movie.
It's a vibe more than like the actual one for one. I get what Tony.
I get what you guys mean. I'm joking around there. I'm gesture acting, okay? It's the new meta.
Shut your goddamn mouth, Vicular. Get out of here.
It's the new meta, okay? I heard it on the vibe.
Get out of here! I do not.
So-
I will not take part in this.
So
Does this movie have anything to say about? We've talked about what it has to say about fandoms, but what does it have to say about horror? Because Jenna Ortega says that she likes elevated horror.
it
Like
has nothing to do
she
with
says
horror.
she says the Babadook kind of. How does she say the Babadook? She's like the Babadook or something.
No, she says the Baba Duke, like she's really elongates the Duke.
Like, it doesn't say anything about horror because that's the thing. That's so again, the thing is right. Because the entire impetus, and even Jack Quaid was like in an interview saying, "Oh, to get into Richie's character, I went on to Last Jedi Reddit boards to get a sense for his character." So again, this movie is all about Star Wars. It doesn't really have anything to say about horror, and that's really funny because if they had actually done like anything to Richie and Amber's characters to make them actually like what these fandom fringe freaks are like, it would have been kind of like forecasting because like a year or so later they came out with Prey and the alt-right freaks jumped on Prey like no one's business, right? And with all like, oh man, they made it woke. She's like a woman and she's an Indian, and they gave her name of all of our white action heroes. And, like they had included even a little bit of that with
All that
Reggie
was right there,
it
especially
would've
if
been
they're
great.
doing Star Wars. It's like the anti-woke backlash is like part of the fandom, that iteration of the fandom menace. So it's like it's kind of weird to not include it.
Yeah, they had. It would have actually said something of horror because something like that happened like a year or so after. But it's too cowardly. It doesn't say anything. People were like, oh, I hate when Prey came up. You're like, Scream predicted the future. No, it didn't, because it has nothing to do with that.
No.
It has nothing to do with what people are hitting Prey about. Like really sexist shit.
This is where I agree with your guys' criticisms with the film, where it's like I agree that like it could have gone way farther with these critiques, but I also do see that the critiques are like there, like it's calling out the right people, but then it's also like it doesn't go far enough to like appropriately depict these things. And I think I would chalk that largely to like not fully understanding these things. I think that the way that these scenes are assembled from like
I think they're afraid of the
directorial
chuds.
sense,
Like you said, they also don't want to poke that bear too much.
Yeah. I think that that's true. And I also think that this film understands that it's trying to be like a horror movie first. And I think that even though that's stupid thinking, because we can all agree that horror movies can be more outwardly progressive with their messaging and people will be on board, I think this movie is trying ultimately to be safe and to focus more so on the thrills. And it's like, we've seen that a million jillion times. And that's why I'm being more lenient to it, which is versus, it's like so close to greatness, which is what makes it so much more disappointing.
Okay, I know what I'll say. We're comparing. It's better than Romulus, but not by much.
Oh, come on.
I'll
Of
say
course
that.
it is.
I
say
this
that.
is way better than Romulus. I mean, maybe that's just because I hold Alien in such a high. I mean, I hold the original Scream in a higher regard, but like Alien is one of the best
Alien
movies
is
ever
so
made,
good.
and then like
But,
all
I'm so
like
scared
that-
to do an Alien rewatch. Oh, most of these are bad too.
Romulus. I feel like I'm still going to come out pretty positive on most of the sequels until Romulus.
Yeah.
3 is a masterpiece.
The
I love it.
Whedon of it all of Resurrection, where it's like, yeah, 3 is very underrated. Alien Cubes.
Yeah. Alien Cubes
Prometheus would be fun.
Hey man, Prometheus, A Covenant, they're all masterpieces.
I mean, I could make an argument for Prometheus being my second favorite Alien movie.
Prometheus is so good. I'm sorry, I'm wondering because I only watch like
It's my best friend in the world.
when I watch it, I watch all like the deleted scenes and all like the teasers and featurettes. So I don't know. I feel like they should have plugged those into the movie. That's what makes it an epic for me. Anyway, Scream. Let's talk about Billy Loomis. Okay. Let's talk the Force Ghost. We haven't gotten to the Force Ghost that much yet.
He
So
was
one,
a hero.
he was-
the POV of this movie.
yeah, exactly. He tells her where the knife is. He tells her what the knife is. So
Stupid fan service, right?
is
like,
so
we
bad.
can all agree with this.
But what I love about it is, I'm sorry, but I don't understand why figuring out Billy Williams was her dad would make her schizophrenic. Like, why did it'd be a shock, yeah, but like, why the visions?
She would
like,
need therapy, but to start seeing shit where she needs to take pills to shakily take pills, where you like your hands are shaking, you drop your pills everywhere in the sink. You're like, oh fuck, yeah. But like, I guess I don't think being the dad of Billy Loomis would do. Yeah, you would be like, damn, that's fucked up, and probably be in therapy for the rest of your life. But yeah, you're not gonna siege. And like, what is the point of it? Like, because it's not also. It seems like it's not just a delusion. There's a point where he points something out to her that she doesn't see. Like in the climax, there's the knife, and he's like nodding to it, where he's like, "Come on, see, huh?"
Yeah, I know. Like it's like I think that they want it to be a ghost. Like they really want it to be a ghost more than anything, but they just not. They don't want to commit to it because it would be stupid. So they do another stupid thing, but like they want it to be a ghost. But the thing about even if it is a ghost or not, she didn't know who Billy Loomis was. I know, right? She didn't know who he was, and so Billy Loomis is like, "Oh, you're my progeny. You're like my heir to my madness." And like it is like you can't run from who you are. You're me. But like Sam isn't a misogynist incel chud like Billy Loomis was. So she's not him. I'm sorry, but sorry, but that's what Billy Loomis was. He was like,
and he appears in the clothes that he was last in before he died. Like she never saw him like that. Like, I mean, I guess the stab movies would have depicted those moments, so she just has the cultural osmosis.
She'd be seeing Luke Wilson.
That would be amazing.
That would be good. She has Luke Wilson delusions. Yeah.
So I think that the problem is that the film doesn't know how much to lean into. Like, is this like a malevolent force, or is this like an actual, oh, hey, we're honoring the franchise situation? And really, it should just be a malevolent force. It should be something where Melissa Barrera can't say, no, fuck you, get out of my life. I don't want any part in this. And then in the ending, only take the parts of that side of her to overcome her fears, right? And it obviously does all of those things.
But then that's depicted as a good thing, as giving in to her killer side, because it's not like
why is the killer genetic? Why is the killer genetic at all? Why is that even the question?
Like murdering Richie is good. Like there's nothing wrong with like when she does that, even if it's like a little sadistic the way she does it. It's not like I'm walking away being like, oh my god, she broke bad. Like she really is Billy's dog. I'm like, no, Richie was a piece of shit. He deserved to die, and I hope he burns in hell.
I mean, like, Sydney and Gail will go there specifically say, we're going to murder Ghostface, paramilitarily or whatever you call it, extrajudicially. We're going to just murder Ghostface. They're there. So, like, are they like possessed by force ghosts of Billy Loomis too? But no, like that's just what you need to do. You need to kill them. Like there's no cynicism about it. You can kill them. That's hateful eight. Some guys just gotta be hanged. And so like that's one of the rubs there. And the other rub for me is that they're gonna do like this whole genealogy thing. They never bring up Mrs. Loomis. I think Mrs. Loomis is probably a better kind of touchstone because Sam had like this relationship with her sister, right? Where it's like, like she's very protective, and that's also what gives her the Popeye serial killer strength right at the end. And like that's really what Mrs. Loomis' motivation was too. So you could have factor that in. Now you're like, oh, not Billy Loomis' daughter, but his mother was a serial killer too. So like, it really is in the blood.
You could have had a flashback where before she went and did her 2 killing spree, that like she had some kind of involvement in.
Yeah, she visited him. Yeah,
she visited like a young Sam or something, and gave her a knife, and it was like, and then you need to kill to protect your family, Sam.
Yeah, something like that, something stupid. Like Mrs. Loomis is her own Roman.
Which Roman erasure, when Sydney at the end is like, this all started with Billy. Way to like erase Stu. Like they refer to Stu as just like some stupid lackey who happened to be there when he was doing half of the kill. Like the movie doesn't happen without Stu. So there's like, yeah, this is a fucking Billy Loomis, the mastermind, and then this fucking, I don't know, some idiot named Stu was also there.
Really shameful lack of accreditation there. Like the way the history rewrites itself over time.
But yeah, I know. They're my qualms with it. And again, it doesn't really inform these characters. We don't really get to know them as much as they think we're getting to know them. And like, I feel like they only have like 3 scenes together before the finale. Sam and Tara. I remember doesn't figure his name finally. So it just feels all in service of being like, oh,
Guys, I just
should we
remembered I
kill?
left my inhaler at home. I have to go back and get my
The
inhaler.
worst. The worst part of the whole movie. What a crock of shit that was.
Like, would she have? Did she have the inhaler at the first scene too? She's been huffing that thing just so that we remember it.
Has there ever been a depiction of asthma where someone's just casually like, yeah, they'll take an inhaler eventually, occasionally, but like they're not gonna die if they like miss a puff or something. They're like, my lungs.
Yeah, asthma is like an iron lung situation. Just got to be in there a couple of seconds.
They need a refuel at the Tesla power bank.
Oh my god. Anyway, what else? What else? Was I trying to think about with this? Okay. I'm hitting that wall. I'm gonna keep scrolling through this film.
Jack Quaid has a lot of funny line reads. I mean, I'm trying to. Yeah, I just watched it, but I'm forgetting some of them. But I like all the yes, in hindsight, we know he's Ghostface and he's just playing a role, but like the way he feigns terror at the scenario and that they should get out, I think is all very well played. And then when they're being chased, when he's like, "Oh shit, it's Ghostface!" the way he says it at the hospital when they get attacked is very funny.
He is so good in this movie. Like I was saying before, you can tell that the filmmakers understood when they were on set. They're like, oh, this guy is a movie star and we've got a movie star in our movie. Like all the other people who pop elsewhere, obviously Mikey Madsen, right? But everybody in this film, it seems like the film was obviously designed around all the legacy stuff. And then they knew that this was the kind of star of this movie. They knew that Jack Quaid was the best performer of it.
I finally remember what I was going to say. Okay. This is it. That's what I want to bring up too. All right. So we all agree and we all have said that her making her Billy Loomis's daughter is just a really stupid idea. That's not really fleshed out. Very kind of hollow idea. And then whenever they bring it up in this, daughter. Yeah, that could be it. That'd be fantastic. But the reason, whenever they bring it up in the movie, there's always a character going "That's perfect. The next evolution of horror. That's genius." And makes sense. It's like they're trying to really sort of beg the audience to be like, "Oh yeah, that does make sense." Because every time
it's when they talk about the xenomorph, where they're it's the perfect organism. At least in that, it makes a little bit of sense contextually why someone would fetishize it. But I'm like, why is this such a hot idea of her being the spawn of lupus?
Yeah, Mindy says it's a great idea. Amber obviously says it's a great idea. It doesn't matter. What does this mean? Why do they think it's good? Why do they think it's an interesting thing? They mention it themselves, and it's and it feels self-conscious.
Well,
but also,
if I'm being generous, it could be a commentary on the lack of the fandom's not wanting to move beyond what's familiar and just going back. Because even all their victims are okay, these are people related to people from the original movies because they're trying to recreate that pattern. But that also extends to their villain. They're it has to be Billy's kid because. But that's if I'm being generous, because I don't feel like the movie has anything really to say about that. It's just doing the thing. So I'm not going to really give it credit for the main reason to do, and I feel like people kept doing this for 5 and 6 of okay, well just wait, they're really going to pay off the Sam story. Even after 6, they're well just wait, this is a long burn storyline. They're going to really pay off her descent or whatever they're going
why
with.
Why even want descent? Why would you want to?
It's something different, I guess, but you don't get credit for what you don't do because it's a potential man storyline.
Yeah, but I don't understand. It's not okay. One, that's why I'm glad about Halloween 6 or anything like that, because who in their heart of hearts really wanted to see Jamie Lloyd start murdering people as a little kid? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. I'm so glad that didn't happen. And or anything like that. You're oh my god, Like Sydney should become a killer too. Did they make fun of that in the first movie as a stupid idea? Like Sydney going crazy and becoming a serial killer. Like everyone's always obsessed with like the final girl. Like they become so traumatized that they kill the next time. Like they even try to do that Friday the 13th. They're like, is Tommy Wallace or Tommy Doyle?
The only value to
Yeah.
that, I feel like, is like it would be cool to have a movie from the POV of a ghost face, but they don't want to do that because they also that would be too alienating. Then, so it's kind of just like half. It's a half measure, half committal. Like, well, that's kind of fucked up, right? She's like a serial killer's daughter, but she's still the heroine. Like, she's not doing anything like, yeah, she's like a little more violent, I guess, but that's like not. She doesn't do anything wrong.
Well, if you want to see what the perspective of a ghost face is, then get ready for Scream, the TV series season 2. But when it comes to all of this stuff that's going on with these people and how they're going to fit in with this movie here, like, I think that it's mostly trying to say like, oh, the iconography of it is so important, and the killers of this movie hold so much of importance to the iconography, and a part of this film is trying to eschew that stuff. So it's like, while I agree with you guys that it's like, oh, it's building up all of these like series, like larger contemplative questions. I'm also kind of taking it here where it's like these people are kind of writing their own path, and it's like, while Marissa Barrera gets this weird like moment where she like kills, and it's like, oh, is she a good killer because it's hereditary? It's like, no, it's also because like they have ownership over their story, and that's ultimately where it comes down to here, where it's like, there is certainly the legacy sequel stuff, but it does lean into whatever is most natural for the characters who are central to this film. It doesn't feel too beholden to the first Scream's characters, which is at least a positive I'll give this movie.
I just kind of want to believe. I want to believe that. I just I don't know.
I feel like yes and no. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's like it's not beholden, but it also is, because it's like, why? Because she's Billy Loomis's daughter, so it's like that shouldn't be there. Like, none of the relations should be there.
Yeah, because like you have this weird scene where like Billy was in the backseat of the car going, Ghostface is on the loose. He's gonna kill you and your sister. You have to protect your family. Family is the most important thing. Billy was never say that. What's the point if you're not gonna have him say things that Billy Loomis would say? Why even have it?
Yeah, I just like those things come and go, and it's like I don't think that it's so. It didn't add up to like what's the most important things of the story. I think that is like window dressing that almost feels like it needs to be there. I agree that it should,
but it just
not
defines
be
the
there
character, because there's nothing else to the character.
Yeah, like that is Melissa
Yeah.
Barrera's character. Like that's the whole underpinning of her arc.
Yeah,
Question marks. So like,
which is
she
why
nothing.
it shouldn't have been Melissa Barrera. If it was just Jenna Ortega and you got rid of all of those scenes, Jenna Ortega could have just delivered that in all in
Maybe
lines,
have
and you would
scenes
believe
dealing with the mom, because all we get is the thing where it's like, so, was it Jenna Ortega's like, I texted her when I got out of the
Still
hospital.
in Britain.
She'll be like, left on red. Mom still hasn't responded. I was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
She should have been Billy Loomis's daughter. You know, because his parents didn't give a fuck about him either. Moms just leave, guys. That's what they do.
It should have been Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland should have come back from the grave.
What else? What else in this movie happens in this movie? I'm just scrolling through. I've checked out at this point. I've checked out.
I mean, the voice cameos are nice. If I'm looking, like, I'm not looking for the fan service, but hearing Drew Barrymore over the intercom is like the principal. I'm like, oh, it's cute. It's like that's inoffensive fan service where it's like not derailing the story. Or I'm just like, if you catch it, you're like, oh, all right, that's nice.
Oh, the dead meat guys sell their souls to be in this terrible fucking movie.
You're acting as if the dead meat people had any integrity to begin with.
Okay, I gotta say, I used to watch them all the time. Then I see this movie, like, I don't watch them ever again. I just can't trust them anymore. Never did. I thought we actually literally like I just watch him like religiously. Now I just don't. I saw him like no.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and it's like not even like I expect people to sell out nowadays, but there was something like they were just so charming, and I don't know, there was maybe like a purity to it that it's naive of me to say, but it's like once they were in this, I'm like, well, no, I don't even want your horror takes.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that the worst thing that I saw about Dead Meat was that like recently they made some kind of statement about how they had some kind of access to an Eli Roth production. Did you guys see this? Like that maybe they had some kind of inside scoop about like the Hostel TV show that they're making, and they put
They're
out some
making
kind
a
of
Hostel TV show.
I heard that.
Not only are they making a Hostel TV show, but it's starring Paul Giamatti, and it hurts my soul to know that.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like I think that there was something where like the Dead Meat people, they were like, oh, we've got some kind of exclusive partnership with Eli Roth, and like they put up some kind of statement where they're like, oh, audience, don't judge us too much for being with Eli Roth. And it's like, you know what? You made your bed, like you don't need to like put out a statement to say like, hey, like we're sorry for working with Eli Roth. That means that you know that you did something wrong by working with Eli Roth. Don't
The
do it in
horror,
the first place.
the horror Ridia, or whatever you say it,
Mhm.
Ridaya.
Yeah.
I don't, whatever that place is called.
Fuck Eli Roth. That guy
Okay.
sucks, and that's why I don't like Dead Meat. If I'm remembering that correctly.
I just feel like they can't be objective anymore because, like, no, they just can't.
They drank the Kool-Aid.
They drank it, yeah. So I'll say one thing. I do like that it's like a real picture of David Arquette and Gale on his mantelpiece, because Dewey never had that haircut. That's not a Dewey haircut. That's a David Arquette haircut. Okay, so you can't gaslight me, movie, into thinking that that's Dewey. That's not him. But I do like that sort of like a real
think a lot of the Dewey Gale stuff is legitimately touching. Although, like, you do have to fill in. My head have to fill in because, like, initially I was like, wait, he was the one who left, but then I was like, yeah, I could see it. I almost wish we saw that scene or whatever, like where he decided to walk out on them, because it's like that would have been. Just still hearing about it and hearing it invoked is a powerful moment, but I was like, oh, damn, we skipped over something pretty big.
Right, yeah. It kind of almost feels like that. Like again, we're setting them back to zero, like we always do, but not quite, because it does feel a lot more like in keeping with the characters and where they are. They're, especially since they were on the rocks, in the fourth one. So it's a nice extrapolation of that. And I do like, again, I like Dewey's death scene overall. I think a lot of the death scenes, a lot of the kills, very, very atmospherically done, very well shot, very well choreographed. The whole prelude with Jenna Ortega just trundling along for a wheelchair is so good. And I actually very tense,
the way that she sells like her hand being hurt as she's moving the wheelchair like that, like Jenna Ortega is a star, right? And like every bit of acting that she puts into this, she's really good in. And to go back to Dewey,
staff for that hospital?
Oh yeah, right. Like where'd they all go? Did Ghostface get all of them before that? To go back to Dewey a bit, one thing about this movie is like certainly we've had our qualms about like fan service, yay or nay. I was a big fan of how they used the score, how they brought back the Twin Peaks guitar with Dewey when he appeared and he's talking to Gale. I'm like, I didn't think that they would go that far, but they did go that far, and it actually felt earned. And it actually was like better than any of the sequels in terms of like their relationship talks. You get what I'm saying?
I really like the way their whole thing is depicted. Although it is funny when they like have their meeting before he dies, that it's like right in front of Judy's corpse. Like they're in front of her place where she got killed. And they have this emotional like reconnection.
Yeah, especially since like Judy, it just feels like Judy was there because we need a connection. We're gonna throw them a bone to four. Like, does it need to be Judy? Why do we need to give her like a 15-year-old kid out of nowhere?
She needs a paycheck.
Those kills were good. Like maybe my favorite kills of the like. There is something like very striking about daytime screen kills, and then also like Yeah, I mean, she's like the sheriff, so it's like, wow, she's totally powerless here.
And also like her kid in this movie, right? I forget that guy's name. It's like Dylan something,
Dylan Minnette,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, he was on that show like How to Get Away with Murder or whatever. Am I getting that right? Like he was like
no 13 Reasons Why, right? Or,
that's what it was. 13 Reasons Why.
And then wasn't he also in Don't Breathe? He was like the one
exactly,
of the kids.
exactly. Yeah, so what I'm getting at here is like when this movie came out, right? Like he was kind of the biggest star of the new cast. And then like walking away from it, we know who Mikey Madison and Jack Quaid are, and Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, right? Like at the time,
someone in the cast has an Academy Award.
Right? And it's like if you're watching this movie at the time, exactly. If at the time you're watching this movie, you're like, maybe that's the guy who's going to pop off. But no, at the end of the day, it's literally everybody but
that was his last role. It was literally his last role. It's insane.
Has he not acted since?
No, he's not acted since.
That is absurd. That is absurd.
He's a good actor.
He's not bad.
I wonder what happened to him. Let's bring him back.
Is it maybe the thing of like when someone's young and they have like a role that like, cause like he 13 Reasons Why was really defining for him. So like, is it like he just like doesn't want to be like he just kind of wants to step away for a while and then
I'm looking at the Wikipedia
like,
page. It says here that he says that he stepped away from acting to focus more on his music career, as acting was starting to lose he was starting to lose his enthusiasm.
Oh, I think they play one of his songs in the credits or something. I didn't listen to the whole credits, but I remember reading that somewhere.
Hey, he's no Joe Carey.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Joe Carey would be a great Ghostface. Oh, fuck.
Oh, you'd be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
when we reboot it, we'll get him on it. All right. All right.
He's like an influencer Ghostface. He turns the camera like, "Did you see that?"
Bazinga.
All right. So after Dewey's death, nothing much happens.
How would you have the original? They said they had two ideas for Dewey was always going to die, but it was like either he dies in the middle, and like that's what brings Sydney back to Woodsboro because how they didn't know how else to square that circle, or he dies in the climax. I mean, I feel like dying in the middle is better dramatically, I guess, right?
Yeah, but there's no, because like Sam is like we're going to like shoo away Gale and Sydney because we're going to totally detach ourselves. So they're like on two different tracks now. So there's no like there's no tether anymore. And I know I've said a tether, but like Dewey was a tether, but also like it's interesting to watch, you know. So like I don't. Well, everyone's gonna be seated during the Chad makes off his girlfriend, scene. Like I don't care about the rest of the people at all.
What I will say is that I think that they made a grave mistake. I think they should have killed off Gale, and Dewey should have been like the long running character in this franchise. I think that killing him off is supposed to be like the Force Awakens killing off Han Solo.
Yeah,
and it just doesn't hit the same.
100%. The first time I saw it though, when Gale gets shot, I was like, "Are they killing her too?" Like it happened so fast. I was like, "Damn, are they like actually like just about to like take everyone off the board?"
And maybe that would have been better, right? Like maybe you leave Sydney to raise her kids and Bob's.
They should also kill some of the new. I mean, yes, Wes dies, but like in terms of like, why do the Minx? I mean, maybe it's just 'cause I don't like those characters, but the Minx twins, like
Minnie should have died, but Chad should have lived because I think Chad is more interesting to leave alive because he's not the Randy, even though he's related to Randy. And so I was like. My first time watching, like I was so like, oh man, I hope that Chad isn't dying because when he gets stabbed.
There's potential for Chad to be his own thing, even though he's like nothing at this point. Whereas Mindy is just like, hey, I don't know, what if Randy was a lesbian?
Oh, it's what if we had a character that was the Scream 4 rule that we said doesn't make sense? Remember Scream 4 when they had that rule that we talked about doesn't make any sense? We're like
how come she didn't invoke that rule? Also, she calls it a requel. That's gross. It's a legacy sequel.
Legacy sequel or soft reboot. Those are the only proper terms. But yeah, no, like she's got black or gay, and I don't know, because that's all her character is. Like, she's the Randy, and she has no other characteristics, and it's really lame.
Even Randy's sister seems off because when they're all gathered, she's like tickled by like, oh, everyone's all like another ghost. She's like tickled by there being another Ghostface killer. It's like Ghostface kills your brother. Like you should be like crying right
On high alert, man. The Randy Meeks home theater memorial, ridiculous.
I don't know. It's a cheesy movie.
It's
Like
so
I'm not looking at it.
It's so
like I'm
artificial.
not looking at it with so much, scrutiny. Like I agree with all these critiques, but also I'm like, I feel as though that's what the film is kind of designed for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like so is Homer's car. But Homer's car is really bad car. Okay, I'm trying to think. Okay, so party, third act, bloodbath, etc.
What do you think will be the third movie that Mikey Madsen gets lit on fire during?
She's gonna work with David Mamet. That's what I think. Baba Booey.
Yeah,
Apparently,
so-
all Kyle Gallner's tattoos are supposed to be references to Wes Craven movies. I didn't go back and like look at every tattoo. I was too busy like being like, why is this pedophile in this bar? Why are these teenagers in this bar?
Why does it matter that he's like Stu's nephew? Why is he living in Stu's house?
And they're just like, oh, look at this guy. He's like hanging out with it. It's like, why is he this?
Yeah, how
character
did
in this
Amber
movie
get
in
to
general?
Stu's house? And where are Amber's parents? Like, just say she killed them or something. I don't know.
Like, yeah, where's her pops, man? Where's her pops? Also, they should have. I know they should have. Is the guy who plays Randy in the fake stab scene like meant to be a guy from the '90s? Because like, who played Randy in Stab?
I couldn't tell who that was, but he almost sounded like a Wahlberg, like or had a Wahlbergian like delivery.
Because I think that if we looked into like the fake listing, we probably would find an actor for Randy, and that's probably not him. They should, if they're gonna deep fake, CGI de-age someone, they should have done like an actual '90s actor to play Randy in that movie scene and not have the Force Ghost.
Yeah, de-aging the Billy actor is weird because like if you look at pictures of him, like yeah, he's obviously aged, but it looks more natural than like the de-aging shit. It's just a weird use of him.
Yeah. Skeet Ulrich shouldn't have been even a part of this, right? Like they like all that stuff just doesn't add anything to this film.
Definitely wasn't locked in like his part in I almost said Freddy Got Fingered. Five Nights at Freddy's too.
He wishes he was in that one.
That'd be good.
So I will say, Mindy does get one laugh from me when she's recreating, or when she doesn't know she's recreating the Randy scene where he's on the couch, because like halfway through the scene, so that's the only thing that shows like there's wheels up there. It's not just spouting quippy catchphrases. Like, I should probably look behind me too. Like she thinks like I'm in this scenario, so I could be in a similar scenario. So she looks back and she's trying to be right. So that's fun. It's a fun little character tick, little character beat. That
actually kind of goes into something that I wanted to say about this movie, which is like with 4, there was this whole thing about like, oh, hey, we're not like understanding reality anymore because of the extrapolation of post irony, right? Like everything is so much of a parody of a parody of a parody that it becomes hard to understand what reality is. And I think that what this film is more so about is like you forgot what the history was. And I think that that's an interesting idea, but I think that most of the shortcomings that I'm hearing from you guys stem from ultimately money being left on the table where it doesn't follow those stuff through to their logical conclusions. So I think that it's interesting where it's like, sometimes these people are kind of getting those things right or wrong, but it's like, it doesn't, the people who made it didn't think it all the way through.
I just wanted more. Like
it's a Scream 4 line. They were overpaid.
Not the worst legacy sequel. It's not the.
Is it?
It just plays it really safe.
It's the Tron Ares of the Scream movies.
Okay,
This
get
is way
down
better
here,
than Tron
Trent.
Ares.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
safe.
Let's
It's safe. It's safe,
No,
isn't it?
no.
They're both safe
No, no.
movies that have
There
they
is
have
no
some
Jared
ideas.
Leto has no place in
There's
this film.
multiple. There's like good performance parts and like set pieces in this that I can point to. Whereas Tron Ares has a Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, which is not doesn't even feel like part of the movie. So there's
It
not
doesn't.
they're not equatable.
Oh, you guys. Okay, I just triggered you libs. Okay, with that, I guess. All right. But no. This is better. This is slightly better than Tron Ares. I'll say slightly. That's as far I'm willing to go.
We'll take it.
But so as I mentioned, there's again. So what was I saying? Sydney, she shows up again to help fight Ghostface, and she's like a badass. Like oh, they
I'm
caught
Sidney
Xander
Prescott. Of
immediately.
course, I have a fucking gun. Apparently, that was her idea for that line. I don't know. It was a little too much.
But also, let's talk about the elephant in the room too. Mark and the baby. So
Mark Kincaid.
Oh no, sorry, Joel McHale now, and that baby's gonna be like 15 years old in like 2 years.
Oh my god.
This is so stupid. Where was that kid? Well, so since I guess was her daughter alive during Scream 4? The one is from the new one.
I feel like that's just all those sequels that add kids have to do. Like I evoked Ghostbusters Legacy. So like, where was Carrie Coon during Ghostbusters 2? I was like, she was running around. So I guess Egon already impregnated someone. Apparently.
Like, was she on tour or having like a newborn left somewhere else? It's her book tour.
Yeah, it could be in a strange. Like that's not the kid. The kid we see in this movie is not going to be the daughter in 7. It's another Billy Loomis because they had to write out most of Barrett because of Israel Palestine. But they had another Billy Loomis kid.
Yeah, Sydney actually she got pregnant that one time, and so she had to give it away. The Roman situation again. It repeats. Cyclical violence. Okay. Mr. Barrera should have been her daughter.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna make people be related, like yeah, that's the obvious. Like yeah, she's the new Sydney.
And she gave it up. She gave her up.
And also,
protect her.
Most of her is kind of boring in this movie, right? Like,
no, she's very boring.
She doesn't really do anything in this.
Hey, she's my best friend. You better be nice to her.
This movie is very boring overall.
I'm sorry, Doug. Like, it is cool that you met her, but at the same time, like, she was like, no offense. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No. She doesn't have much. The most like sauce she gets to put on anything is like when Richie is like, "What about my ending?" And she's like, "Here it comes." Before she
exactly, right? Like the slitting of the throat is so cool, but then like everything else she's given, it's like I feel like it's not playing to her strengths
because it's buttressed by what we're supposed to be feeling. We don't ever feel anything for the character because it's always like, oh, she's Billy's daughter, so fill in the blanks. Well, I want to fill in the blanks. You're the one giving blanks. Write something worthwhile.
They can't make us fill in the blanks for something that major, like of a retcon. Like we need to see some kind of flashback with the mother or something.
Yeah, we need to see her childhood.
Like show us some version of the scene where she comes in and confronts her mom about the diary that the mom just left laying around for some reason about how she had a child with Billy, and then Sam confronts her about show us like a version. Don't just have Sam tell us that.
Yeah, it feels like backstepping too much. We have like this is the foundation, but it's like not foundation. It's like twigs with like, oh yeah, and here this also happened written on them. It's a house of cards. I'm mixing my metaphors really a lot here. Yeah. Anyway, Chad lives.
Surprising that he does, but also a good actor.
Yeah, he was good in Love Hurts, whatever it was called. Hard Eyes?
I never saw that one.
That was okay.
I'll take your word for it. It was never on like the top of my list, you know.
Better
like
than this. Okay. Let's see here. They don't do anything racist. Uh,
Is that just like a general rating for this film?
yeah,
You're
because
just
they
like,
shoot. I'm sorry, man, but when you have like Ethan Van Sciver like mutilating 50 Rose Tycho action figures, I mean, like you could have included some racism. That's all I'm saying.
so you're just applauding the fact that like there was a chance that it could have happened,
No, they
but they
should
didn't.
have done it. They should have done it. Okay. Because that's what these people are. This movie's like, how can fandom be tough? I just love. It's from love. No, these
Well,
people are freaks. They're freaks
yeah,
in
you're
real life.
right. You're right that this movie should have gone way more into how freaky they are. I feel like this movie does kind of leave the oven mittens on a bit too much in that department.
Mike Madsen explodes, but it's like really stupid shot where she like trips over and turns up the dial herself beforehand. That's it's hard to do. They lock in place, man.
I feel like that's like a classic Twitter clip, right? Like I feel like I see that clip every month.
That and like I'm the killer. I hate these scenes. Mikey Madsen sucks.
I think she's great in this movie. I think she's a real joy.
I think she's fun. I like when she does the little psycho.
Yes, with the knife. I think that's really funny.
Let's see here. Billy is like, use the knife, Luke, and then she does. And Jenna Ortega shoots Mackie Madsen point blank in the face. But does she have serial killer blood too? Because that was pretty brutal. I don't know. We got to look into her genealogy. So that's what the movie is saying. It's genetic. Can you use it for good or evil? I don't know, man. Time will tell. Sadie should have killed her too, just to be safe.
Keep our children safe, like they were saying.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything else to talk about this movie? Anything at all?
Well, like I feel like I haven't like been putting up a large defense of this movie. It's not because like there isn't more that I want to defend about it. It's literally because like I have no passionate feelings about it. I think it's like a fine movie. I think that it's like okay, like imagine if we're scoring this not on the Scream franchise but in the Halloween franchise. I feel like this would be like an above average Halloween film. But in the Scream franchise, comparing it with all, yeah, exactly, right. But it's like,
but there's just so many more Halloween movies. Like, whereas there's just 6 Scream. I mean, they'll catch up over time. Like, that's definitely what the franchise is gonna be. Like, that's the trajectory.
At the end of the day, it's like if somebody were to come up to me, right, and they were to say like, "Hey, I like Scream 5," like that's the only one they watched, right? I wouldn't be like so terribly offended. I would definitely lead them in the direction of the first movie, right? But I also feel like what they were trying to do with building this, it makes sense. And I feel like 6 at least moves in its own direction. I think where it goes with 7 is an entirely different story because of obviously extra, circumstances surrounding it, right? But when it comes to what they were kind of building with this, there was a shred of an interesting idea. But as it is, we can't talk about what it was planning to be. What we just kind of take it as a piece of film. I think it's totally passable. I don't think it's like terrible. I don't think that it's like amazing, but I think that like, because there are so many of these great performances from a Mikey Madison, from a Jenna Ortega, from a Jack Quaid, all of these things elevate this film a bit more to where I'm able to easily give this one an easy recommend.
I would say, okay, I agree.
I mean, I would say if someone's watching all the movies, yes, watch this one. And it works better as a movie than like some of the like. There's cool things and even like maybe 1 or 2 moments that I enjoy in 3, but those just fundamentally don't have like flow. Whereas even with all my nitpicks with this one, for me, like it it goes by. Like it doesn't. I'm annoyed at the story decisions they're making and stuff, but it works as a movie.
I'll say it's well directed. Okay, and we're not in
That's what I'm
artificial.
saying.
We're not in artifice world anymore. Okay,
I
but
just think I like every Radio Silence other thing better than this, maybe.
yeah, but I will say that the story is really dog shit, and the characters are really terrible, and the writing is annoying, and it self praises itself through the characters' dialogue way too often, and it kind of like it's high on its own supply, and I think that negates like 1,000 points. So I would say erase it from existence.
I think we can find a place of unity here, right? Separate from this movie. Can we all agree that Devil's Due is better?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, way better.
Boom. Baba Booey.
But will
Devil's
Ready or
Due.
Not 2 be better? Who knows? Because they show
When,
they can't
when,
do
when
sequels.
does that come out? Soon?
Like in March, I think.
I have no faith in that movie. I think that movie has...
I like the first one, but I just feel like
Why are we continuing with our story?
Yeah.
I would rather just see another type of Ready or Not. In the fact that they're like, here's her sister. And it's like, well, why did you just have that actress be another character in one of these scenarios that we just have? Like, I like Samara Weaving, but like, we don't have to.
Because Radio Silence only knows how to like introduce new family members as the driving force for things.
Well, they're trying to make it a franchise of like, this is our new Final Girl, right? Like that's obviously the goal.
And also, like, Radio Silence has now had their hands in the pies of like two different franchises, and this is now their franchise, right? Like they're like, hey, we now have Ready or Not, and it's like, I think Ready or Not 1 is a very competent film, but I would not want to say like I don't want a whole franchise of Ready or Not, like
yeah, I don't want a franchise of really. I don't want an Abigail franchise. I mean, Abigail.
Abigail sucks so much, man.
I think it's fun. The last act is when the writing really goes off the rails. They really should have just stuck to the original idea of like, let's just do Dracula's daughter, because like by the time you get like the Dracula character showing up, I'm blanking on that. I get that he's like a vampire, but I'm not even. It's not even clicking with me. It's like, oh, that's Dracula that they've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah. But I think the only thing that ever got me was like when the Abigail was doing the puppeteering, the blood puppeteering. That's it. The rest of the movie is like over the top, annoying, screechy.
Dan Stevens is pretty funny though. He's always a good time.
Nah, I think this is one of his weakest roles.
But also
he's a dirty New York cop.
What's that movie he did where he played the cyborg? Did you guys ever see that movie?
The Guest?
No.
No, he's only metaphorically a cyborg in that.
What Reddick was saying was very ambiguous.
Let's see. I'm Your Man. There's a movie called I'm Your Man.
I'm Your Man.
Oh, I never saw that. Is that German or something?
Yeah, it's a German film. It's a German film, and it's like he plays an android, and the person who has like built him is Sandra Huller, right, from Anatomy of a Murder, right? So it's a great film. Like check it out.
Look into
Anatomy of Fall. Sorry, not Anatomy of Murder. But
I'm always a fan of Stevens, even if the movie around it's uneven. I'm a Cuckoo defender.
Cuckoo is good. Okay,
hey,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Great movie.
No, I said it's underrated because like I think it's like legit like a fun horror movie, and he's like reveling in just being a German scientist.
What about a Cabinet of Curiosities? The Anna Lily Amipour.
Oh, that's probably the second best episode after the Empty Man director's one. Yeah, I really like that.
Instructions and the solution. The best.
Yeah. The best solution. Yes. Put it on your body.
And
episode probably has the best ending too, with the like I Believe in Miracles cover when she starts floating.
Ending, man.
Great episode.
Good. It's probably one of the best episodes of that series.
Hard to agree, but I'm a big fan of the Cemetery Rats.
Scream. They should have stopped. They should have stopped. They should have made any more. Because now we're stuck
Well,
in a death
yes.
spiral.
Well, yes. Like that's.
I don't know.
That's the
Seven
central point.
seems like it's gonna be good, guys.
Sorry. Did our phone call get hacked by Benjamin Netanyahu?
Like the thing about 7 is like, how many times can we redo like a legacy
Israel has
sequel
the right
thing?
to defend itself.
This is like the third time we're gonna do a legacy sequel. Okay, functionally,
Unfortunately,
like
yeah.
how many more
VHS
times?
had 2.
Like how much more can we do this, man? Like I'm gonna say because next, Scream never well used to have luster. Now the veil has shattered. It is just a really generic horror franchise. This is what let's get some. Let's Hellraiser it. Let's steer into the skid. Let's do like 30 direct-to-video Scream movies. Yearly.
Mhm.
Let's just do it. Let's just burn this to the ground, man.
And then do a hard reboot with the director of the latest Hellraiser.
Yeah, so good.
It's like really serious.
So good.
This needs the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch treatment. Like Ghostface needs to go away. We need a new entire setup.
So this was the time to do it. They just called it Scream. There's not even a number next to it. Like this is a perfect opportunity.
So I actually had an idea.
Start fresh.
So I had an idea, and so I had this idea after Scream 4 came out. So between this and Scream 4, I had this idea in my mind of what a great next Scream would be, right? And this movie kind of does it because one, as I mentioned, it knew that it really couldn't do like a full legacy sequel or soft reboot meta commentary because Scream 4 already did it. So it tried to be like, what are the rules of a Scream movie by using stab as like as the frontispiece for that, as the allegory for that, the stand-in. Like, well, this is what you guys are knowledge being in the Scream movie, the Scream cliches, But I had an idea that's similar to that. But like, what if you had a Scream movie that was like set in 1997, right after Scream 2 comes out, or 1999 or whatever that comes out, and like you had it be about that, like the era of like finding a billion Ghostface masks at your like local deli, like that era, like someone's love of Scream 1 and 2 has gone too far. Like that could be it. Like they wanted to make their own number 3, and I just think that's what they should have done because they try to do it, but it doesn't make any sense because
that seems to be the logical conclusion of the meta-ness is like let's just zoom out another layer and it's like someone watching Scream and now we're in our world.
Yeah, like late 90s, before cell phones became an even bigger thing. And again, like they used to be a bigger thing, like the early 2000s, late 90s, where like these masks were like $5 a piece, man, anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, the problem is like with the first Scream, it's like everybody watched Halloween, right? Like we all lived within that same world. And now Scream has become so insulated that it's like it has Stab with all of these different sequels to the point where it's like, can you imagine like, I don't know, a Celine Song film coming out in this universe? No, right? Like this is an entirely different universe. So the thing that this franchise needs is grounding in reality or the exact opposite. It needs to go entirely off the rails. And what I will say to kind of like positively reveal what I'll say about the next film in this franchise, I think that the 6th film does go off the rails in a very delightful way.
People have said that, but I think it was kind of boring. I don't know.
I think it's still very generic. Still very safe.
I know I'm in the minority here, so like I'm okay to keep being
a
that
Scream
way.
agnostic. You seem to be defending some of these movies too much. I'll say.
I mean, they finally do more than 2 killers. That's another thing. This movie just did not want to like iterate on. They're like, no, it's always 2 killers. Other than the time it was just Roman somehow, but like we're never gonna do more than that. And then
Roman is so badass.
That's how powerful he is. He didn't need an accomplice.
To go what you were saying, Elvis, before about me being too apologetic about these Scream movies, I do understand what you're saying, and like I don't eschew those claims. What I will say is like I'm grading this more so just like as a horror movie, and like as a horror movie, like I look at Scream 5 and I'm like, you can do a lot worse. That's not me saying like I love this movie. I think that this movie's fine. I think that the things that stick out to this movie a lot more so are the performances. But when it comes to like a great horror film, I look elsewhere, like for fun, I'm going to turn on 1408, that's a trashy movie, right? But like I would much rather watch that before this. You know what I mean?
1408's a masterpiece.
Force
It's not
Matrix,
trashy.
yeah,
I don't know. I
that's
don't know
really
what you're talking
Exactly.
about.
That's a really great movie.
But it's a trashy masterpiece. Like
We've only just begun.
John Cusack grabbing his head, going, ah! Like that's me right now.
That's what people who talk about Smile 2. Like this is a movie with a great false ending. Smile 2 is just annoying.
Yeah. Can we just do like a 4-hour podcast on 1408? Can we do a podcast on 1408 that is 1,408 hours?
Let's just do every Stephen King movie ever.
Down.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's do it. But should we do that in tandem or after the Children of the Corn things?
Oh yeah, no. Children of the Corn is his own thing. We got it.
Yeah, there's like 20 of those, right? Like
yeah, let's do
close 11.
That's still too much.
Yeah,
that's still too much. But will their hit rate be better than Scream? I mean, come on, it's pretty neck and neck.
By the time Scream gets to 11 movies, maybe. But like at this trajectory, I don't know.
All right, so I think we should probably just wrap it up, unless anyone else has anything specific to say anymore.
No.
I'm pretty. I mean, I can't think of anything else. I coming from a place when if I come off as extra hard, like I said, like this is between a 5 and a 6. Like it's not even like the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just I'm coming from a place as a fan where it's like I really want these to be better, and especially like coming off of 4, which is like the platonic ideal of like what you could do with this franchise post the original, and then we're just going to settle back into like mostly more of the same. Like we have a good new cast, but we're not really super like honing in on like any of the new implications of like what these characters are. It's just a lot left on the table.
It really is.
Yeah, I don't think it's perfect. I agree with everything that you guys are saying. The interesting thing about this podcast is I feel as though we don't disagree on anything. I don't think that any of us are
just
really
the levels of our agreement.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's perfect, Elvis. I think that it's like how much that we let these things get in the way of our enjoyment is what is allowing for us to recommend or not recommend this movie. And for me, it's like, I watched this and I'm like, I'm not really a huge Scream fan. So for me, I'm like, as a horror movie in 2022, you can do a much, much worse. And especially in the legacy sequel department. But when it comes to like a Scream fandom department, like I totally get it, That being said, I can't wait to talk more about the TV series.
I'm excited. I really am.
I'm excited to get to just the way you guys are talking about it. I'm like,
did you see the first season, Doug? At all?
Yeah, Doug. Did you see the first season?
I've had it playing on the background while I've been driving cross country, so I've like half watched half of the first season.
No, you're doing it right. That's correct.
That's good. Okay, Randy sucks in it, right? You agree?
Yeah, I mean, they all. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone sucks in that show. That show sucks.
Can't wait for season 2. Okay, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. All right, so next week
that's gonna be great.
Scream 6. We can only get better, right?
Ghostface has a gun now.
Got shotgun. Anyway,
blow it out your ass.
Let us know what where you guys can find you. How about you, Tony?
Yeah, so that's me, poor old Rolo Tony. You can find me there. As my profile says, I'm also a co-host on the show These Guys Got Juice, where you can also find Doug. One thing I will shout out right now is 2 Cent Critic. Got a new podcast coming out with them very soon. Check that out. And then In Films We Trust, the long discussed Larry Fessenden franchise, retrospective, This is an exclusive to this podcast right now. I got the message as we were doing this. Exclusive here. We will be interviewing Larry Fessenden for that podcast. So if you want to hear us discuss with Larry Fessenden his whole career, we want to show you over to In Films We Trust, where you'll probably have an hour and a half 2-hour discussion with me and Infield Trust guys and Larry Fessenden, the guy himself. So get ready for that. And of course, keep listening to this feed here. And of course, keep listening to these guys got juice. Got tons of good stuff coming down the pipeline.
Awesome. Okay, so how about you, Del? Where can we find you?
When I'm not phoning in from the road, you can find me on at the Doug Files on my Twitter, and then also, like Tony said, these guys got juice. We did a lot of great stuff at the end of last year, very beginning of this year. There's like a chair episode company. We did Knives Out. We did like our top. It was supposed to be a top 10 of the year, and then it became a top 12. And yeah, we're gonna have some more stuff coming out. Soon as I'm done driving through the parts of the country where people really believe Conor O'Malley type stuff, then I'll be back to recording episodes.
All right, so I think that we're done. We're going to close the book on Scream 5, and yeah, Scream 6, the last Scream so far, the last before things are presumably going to get really bad, because God, no matter what I said about this movie. Watching every time I see the Scream 7 trailer in theaters, I'm like, I feel like a pit in my stomach. Like, why? I didn't. Even regarding everything else, is like this just looks so low rent in every way. Tatum, God,
it's embarrassing for Williamson. Like, if I was him, I was like, I mean, obviously money, but like, it's like you were part of this, and it's like,
Sick was fun. I like Sick.
Sick is fun. Like, and it actually had some like interest. Like, you could have a very uncharitable read of that movie's politics, but I still think it was going for something really interesting. And then also helps that John Hyams directs the fuck out of action sequences, so that Sick is really fun.
Like, yeah, like the Sick. When Sick came out, like this is much better than 5 and 6 for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yes,
and I'm like, so like, where's that juice? Like again, but we have to all worship at the altar of Sidney Prescott. Will her not being in the number 6 make me more charitable to it? Maybe I'll go up a couple of notches for that one. Who knows? But yeah, see you again next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Baba Booey.